with the KLM flight, we also got to go into the lounge, the KLM lounge in Amsterdam, and it is so cool. I was such a little like Delft House nerd girl going up. You go up the escalator, and all of the Delft houses that they've made throughout the years are like there. I'm there with my phone, like videoing like an idiot. My husband is behind me, just like pretending he didn't know me.
Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to the Upgraded Points Podcast.
And I'm Katie, and today we're talking about some real-world points and miles bookings that we have made, including Chris's flight on a turtle, my trip to Amsterdam and Frankfurt, and then we're going to answer some of your questions. So let's jump right into it. Chris, what did you book? Is it the turtle? Did you book the turtle?
I booked the Flying Honu.
Yes!
That is ANA's A380 that flies only between Tokyo and Honolulu. And I don't know if I've been manifesting it or what, but it's finally happened. My curse is broken because the credits that I got from my troubles with United, my family and I got stuck in the airport 2 nights. We ended up with almost, how much did we end up with? Almost $4,000 in United credits. They were going to expire next month if we didn't use them. And so I had some basic United flights booked, and it just didn't feel right. And so I kept looking, and it turns out I could use these on partner airlines. They were travel certificates. They weren't travel bank credits, so there are a little bit different rules there. So I found some flights in business class from Honolulu to Tokyo for $1,300. And so we had, it came out to like almost $1,000 per person we had in credits. And so we're paying around $300 for us to fly business class to Japan on this incredible A380. My kids have never been on an A380 before, so it's going to be incredible. Plus, it's painted like a giant turtle.
That's awesome. What a great deal, too. Way to make good use out of those travel credits.
Yeah, I'm so pumped. Yeah, so I'm having my curses broken, and I don't know, whatever manifestations I had to get moving, but it worked, so I'm happy.
I love it. I can't wait to hear how it all is. I want to see pictures. I'm super jealous.
It will be.
It sounds
plenty.
great. Awesome. Well, so there's some news that came out a couple weeks ago, and I want to get your opinion on it because there's some differing opinions going around the points and miles world right now. A few weeks ago, American Airlines introduced or announced that they were going to end their standard upgrade award chart. And that means that right now you can confirm instantly online upgrades using miles or money, I believe. And that's a positive thing because previously you had to do a whole thing, contact American. It wasn't upgraded or it wasn't confirmed at the time. No. But it was standard pricing, and now the pricing is dynamic, which means who knows how much you're going to spend. Currently, that system with the award chart is available through August 11th, so there's a little bit of time. So right now we can use both systems. What do you think about this new system? I'm curious to see. I've never actually, either previously or in the new system, used it to upgrade a flight. But I'm curious what you think about all this.
Yeah, so it's getting a lot of negative press, which I get because people like the fixed prices and it can make sense in a lot of situations. However, I have been using the dynamic bidding system with cash for over a year now. It's only been available in the American Airlines app, and it's been great. I mean, there's been times where I would never pay for it because the prices are crazy. It's dynamic. But I have booked my family from Rio to New York in lie-flat business class seats for $300 a person. That is just a great deal. And alternatively, if I were to call in instead of just doing it myself on the app, if I were to call in and ask for an upgrade, first of all, it's not guaranteed if there's no upgrade available space. And the current price right now between North America and Brazil is 25,000 miles plus $350. So I paid $300 by itself. So I saved, with me and my family, 100,000 miles compared to the old system. So now what's going to happen is you can go onto the website and you can choose either pay with your miles or you can pay with cash. And that price may be super high, but if they're really trying to sell those seats, it could be pretty low.
That's cool. It sounds like there's a lot of opportunity now. And as someone who enjoys not having to call and talk to anyone, I'm really excited that this can just be done online. You don't, it can be confirmed right there. I think that's a good
Exactly. And
positive outcome.
people are upset because the price that American Airlines is assigning to the cash price in miles is around or less than 1 cent per mile, and so obviously that's not great. We try to get more value out of our miles. That being said, if it's dynamic and it gets really cheap in cash, that still means it could be really cheap in points. So if you happen to earn a bunch of American Airlines miles and you're not using them, it could be an option. Otherwise, you still have the option to pay cash, and it's better than having to pay cash and points, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited about this. I think it'll, like you, I think it'll probably end up being an interesting development.
All right, so let's move on. Katie, we are in peak summer travel time, and you had an awesome trip to Europe. Why don't you give us a little detail, because I'm pretty sure you booked most of it with points and miles.
I did. I did. I'm excited to share this. I actually have written an article last year for Upgraded Points about how I booked a whole week in Europe using points and miles. So we'll link to that too to give you another idea of some other options that you can use. But I wanted to share this trip because I did book the entire thing using points, miles, and credit card perks. So I think there's some good tips in here that other people can use to book their own trip. So first of all, I started with business class flights from Boston to Frankfurt, and I booked these on Condor Airlines via Alaska for 55,000 miles and $48 each for lie flat business. So I was very excited about that. I had never flown Condor before. Nice seat, really good branding. I'm going to show you how cute this is their business class
Oh, nice.
amenity kit.
So it matches the plane, right? They
Yeah,
have the
so I
striped
think there were
planes.
four. Yes, yeah. So look at their branding. So it's got this, but like the socks are striped.
Oh,
The eye
nice.
mask is striped. So really great branding. The seats were all striped. It was just a really nice looking plane.
Okay.
I have a design background, so I get a kick out of any time, that there's good design. So I really appreciated that. The food was pretty mediocre.
Oh,
Don't go on to it hungry. Bring snacks.
okay.
Yeah.
How long was
It
that
wasn't
flight
amazing.
from Boston to Frankfurt?
It wasn't long. It was like 6 hours, six and a
Okay.
half. And it was at a weird time. In hindsight, it was like a 4 p.m. flight from Boston. So by the time you were tired, you were landing. So it was like too
Yeah.
early to really sleep. You get there and body clock time is like the middle of the night, but it's like 5 a.m. So that wasn't ideal, but it worked. It was fine. It was a, comfortable flight. The service was pretty good. The food was the only thing that I really didn't love. And I had found that flight from a Seats.aero award alert
Oh,
that I had
nice.
set up. And it was one where I needed to get to Europe on either this day or that day. And I didn't really care where I was going for the most part. And this popped up and it was a good price. So I jumped on it and I was really happy with it.
Nice.
So yeah, the original plan had nothing to do with Frankfurt. This whole trip was to go to Amsterdam, and so the Frankfurt just kind of happened because that's where I found the flight. So we ended up spending 2 nights in Frankfurt, and I had originally booked the Linder Hotel Frankfurt, which is a JDV by Hyatt property. It's a brand new hotel. I think it just opened like in the last month, like very new. 8,000 points per night. So great price. And I had that booked for a long time. And kind of at the last minute, maybe a week before our trip, I was looking at the location and it was just a little further from the train station that I wanted to be. Just not quite the location I wanted. So I was like, let me just go look. So on a whim, I looked on American Express. I looked at their fine hotels and resorts to see maybe if there was anything. I had looked previously and the prices were all just crazy. And I had stumbled on a hotel called the Steigenberger Icon Frankfurter, the brand I had never heard of before.
Say that 3 times fast.
I know, right? I don't even know if I'm saying it right, so I apologize to the German people. But it looked like a really nice place. It was a fine hotels and resorts, so that's always a good indication that it's going to be a nice hotel. The prices for the 2 nights that I needed, the first night was $250. The second night was like $394. And my husband and I each have an Amex Platinum card that has a $200 Fine Hotels and Resorts credit on it, which can be used for one night when it's a FHR property. If you book a hotel collection, it is 2-night minimum, but this was Fine Hotels and Resorts. And I don't think you're technically supposed to do this. It's kind of, not in the spirit of the program, but I booked one night under my name with my card and a second night under my husband's name with his card.
Of course.
And was able to use both of those $200 credits. Awesome. When you do that, you just want to make sure when you're at the hotel, they don't combine those, the reservations at all, because it could mess up the benefits. But with the Fine Hotels and Resorts booking, I got free breakfast. I got those $200 credits. And then with each booking, so each night, I also got $100 food and beverage credit, which paid for dinner. So I spent $244 out of pocket, and I got free breakfast both mornings and free dinner both evenings, because we spent just about $100. And it was a great location, a nice hotel. And I was so happy. It was such a great use of those Fine Hotels and Resorts credits.
Which can be hard to use sometimes. And then for your other hotel, were you able to cancel?
Yeah, because it was booked with Hyatt points, so it was totally cancelable. So no problem there. The points were immediately put back into my account. And I mean, I'm 2 nights short now on Hyatt Elite nights, but I'll have to figure that out somehow. But I was really happy with it. And I had gone, we did like a river tour, and I kind of saw sort of where the Hyatt hotel was located. And I was really glad that I went with this other hotel, because it was much more centrally located, really close to the train station. It was just, it was a good choice. I'm really happy that we did that. So I want to move on to Amsterdam. Let's take a quick break before we do that, and then I will share all about my trip to Amsterdam.
All right, welcome back. Katie, you were in Frankfurt, but then you went to Amsterdam. Why don't you talk to us about that? Where'd you stay?
I did. I went to Amsterdam, which was the whole point of the trip. And we actually went to Amsterdam last year, and I loved it. But our trip got cut short for a couple of reasons, so I wanted to go back. And so this was the whole point of this trip. So for hotels, we stayed at the Andaz Amsterdam last year, and I loved that hotel. I wrote a full review for Upgraded Points, which we can link to in the show notes. It made me fall in love with the Andaz brand. It is quirky and weird and artsy and fun, and it's super Amsterdam themed. Like, you will not forget that you're in Amsterdam. Crazy, weird, like a fish mural that turns into a spoon on the wall. Just really, really cool. Very thoughtful. Every detail was thought out in this hotel. So I was so excited to stay there again. So originally I had 5 nights booked at that hotel. And I have had for a few months a Hilton free night certificate burning a hole in my pocket. I had gotten it from a welcome offer on the Hilton Surpass card. And I was super excited because they're uncapped, which is amazing. So you can use it at any Hilton in the world. But I just didn't have an opportunity to use it at a good, really anywhere. I just, I this particular one had a 6-month expiration date, which I was not happy about. And I plan my trips pretty far in advance. So I was having a really hard time using this. Well, there's a Waldorf Astoria in Amsterdam that looked really cool that I wanted to use it at. And I've been looking, and there was just not standard room availability for one night, because you have to have the standard room availability for one night to be able to use this free night certificate, and it just wasn't there. And then a little bit closer to my trip, one night in the middle of the trip popped up, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that. I'm not moving back and forth. And literally the day before, So we were in Frankfurt on a train. We were going out to Heidelberg, Germany. And I looked, and the first night of our stay in Amsterdam, there was one night, standard room. So I am like DMing Hilton on this train to Heidelberg saying, can you please book me this night and use my free night certificate? And it actually worked. It was great. And I didn't realize until then that you could book free night certificates just through the chat feature on the app. I thought you had to call.
Yeah.
So I learned that. That was great. And it worked out so well. So I booked one night at the Waldorf Astoria. The cash cost for that night, which I never would have paid, but €1,100. Like,
good thing you saved that certificate. It was worth it.
For real. But I have Hilton Gold status from the Amex Platinum and also from this Surpass. So we got free breakfast. And in Europe, the Hilton free breakfast is actually a free breakfast, and it's not just a food and beverage credit. And it was a really good breakfast. It was in their restaurant, and it included what they called I think they called it the Taste of Waldorf or something like that, which is like this tower of food with like some pastries, and I think there was yogurt and some meats and cheeses and stuff that they bring. And then you can order an item off of the menu, plus coffee, tea, and juice, whatever you want. It's all included in the Hilton Gold breakfast. So great option if you do have Hilton status at that Waldorf Astoria. It's a really good breakfast. And I was so happy that we got to use it. It was a nice hotel, really lovely hotel. I don't think it's worth €1,100 a night, but for a free night certificate, like, sure.
Absolutely.
It was great. Yeah, right on a canal, really nice location. So that was great. So then after that night, we moved to the Andaz, and I just got in under the wire, so I was able to cancel out that first night from my reservation, and I got my points back, because I booked with points, so it was refundable. And I think I hit I was like maybe 4 or 5 hours before the cancellation deadline, so this was truly last minute. So for the Andaz, I paid 29,000 points per night. When I booked, it was Category 6. It is now a Category 7. So prices have gone up.
Yeah,
and that
not
was
cheap.
the peak pricing. Not cheap. And when I booked it last year, it might have been even less than that. I don't remember. But anyways, so it has gone up to a Category 7, which is not amazing. But I love the hotel. I would still book it at a Category 7 if you're looking for a really cool place in Amsterdam. Right on the canal, really good location. There's just everything right out your door. And when I visited last year, I was a globalist, and I am not now. I lost my status, but I did earn enough nights last year to get a guest of honor certificate. So I applied a guest of honor certificate, which gave me globalist benefits for this stay, which is free breakfast, which is fantastic because, it's just so much easier just to know you're going to go down, eat breakfast, and you don't have to worry about where you're going. We got a sort of an upgrade to a room with the garden view. Last year we got a canal view, which I loved, and I asked them for, and they're like, yeah, sure, how about €100 a night? Or like, no, how about you give it to me for free? They didn't want to do that, so I do think that room was sold out, but they did upgrade me to a garden view. It wasn't an amazing garden view. I was kind of on the side, so it was more like a top of the building next to us view. But whatever, it was fine.
City view.
Yeah, something like that. I could see the garden kind of over to the side. But it was, a lovely hotel. I love the room. It's comfortable, great location. I was really happy with that stay. So highly recommend that place.
Nice.
I will say, before I decided to book the Andaz, I was thinking about booking the W Amsterdam. And it looked like a really cool hotel. So if you have Marriott points and you're going to Amsterdam, that would be a great option. And it is much closer to the train station. So if you're going for maybe just a night or something, if you're coming in on the train, that would be a really, really convenient place because it's just a few minutes walk from the train station.
Okay.
So, but I love Amsterdam. I would go back again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's a really nice town. Where'd you go after Amsterdam? What was the next stop?
So Amsterdam was last stop. It was just, we did 2 nights in Frankfurt and 5 nights in Amsterdam. Mm-hmm. And coming home, we flew KLM Business Class. And that was actually the first part of this entire trip that I booked. Because I knew that we wanted to come to Amsterdam, and I knew I wanted to fly KLM Business Class for a very specific reason. And let me show you, because I have them finally.
You finally got them? Yes.
I got my Delft houses. I'm so
Awesome.
excited. So if you don't know, if you're flying KLM Business Class to and from Amsterdam, and I think I don't know exactly which locations. I don't think you get them if you're flying like intra-Europe, but from the US to Amsterdam, you do get these in business class. And they are collectible. They're, I think, one every year for like the last 100-something years. They've made these, and they're modeled after canal houses in Amsterdam, and they're done in like the Delft pottery style. So I had been wanting one of these for so long. We flew last year, we flew KLM, but we flew premium economy, which was great, but I didn't get one of these, so I felt really cheated. So I was super happy.
And for the
to
listeners who don't know, can you give us a little shake, Katie? Is there something inside these?
Can you hear that? There's actually gin, I think it's gin in these, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, it's something having to do with like the airline can't give you a gift, but they can give you food, so food and drink, so they put gin in these. Is that true?
I don't know. We'll have to
that's a story
research
I've heard,
that for the show notes.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm super happy to have them. So yeah, I had booked this flight first and like backtracked the rest of the trip to this flight that I had found. I paid 48,500 miles plus $404 in taxes and fees through Virgin.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. It's a high taxes and fees for that particular redemption.
But it comes with gin.
It comes with gin, which I'm not going to drink, which, whatever. But it was under 50,000 points, and it was a day that I wanted to fly, so I booked it and I did not think twice.
That's awesome.
So with the KLM flight, we also got to go into the lounge, the KLM lounge in Amsterdam, and it is so cool. I was such a little Delft house nerd girl going up. You go up the escalator, and all of the Delft houses that they've made throughout the years are I'm there with my phone, videoing like an idiot. My husband is behind me, just oh my God, pretending he didn't know me. But it's a really big lounge, very comfortable, and there's actually a really cool display of all the Delft houses throughout the years. So if you are like that, definitely go into the lounge. I really enjoyed it. And I also wanted to show you, the flight itself was great. It was a basic, lie flat seat, nothing special, but it was comfortable. The food was excellent. I was really surprised how well the food was. Probably top 3 food experiences I've ever had on an airplane. Right up there with Turkish, and I've had some really good food on Air France too. This was really, really good. So, and I don't know, we flew premium economy last year and the food was fine. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't didn't blow my mind. And this was much better. So I don't know if it was just the particular dishes they were serving that day or because it was business class or what, but the food was really good. And I wanted to show you the amenity kit, which I thought was super cute. It's like a little drawstring bag.
Oh, yeah. Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I appreciate amenity kits that aren't just your basic, little bag. So I thought that was really cute. Yeah, definitely. And we had an extra one so I could bring it to my daughter and, pass it off as a souvenir.
Classic move. I've done that before.
Very good. But it had cute stuff in it. A little eye mask, a tiny little pen that was just adorable. So, and it's a really cute little bag. But it was a really good trip, and, I love being able to do a whole trip like this, all on points, miles, and credit card perks. For, yes, I spent money on the taxes and fees and some train tickets and other stuff, but when you're not paying so much for your hotel and your flights, and you're still flying really well and staying in nice hotels, you can buy train tickets and experiences and things and without even thinking about it. And it's still a really relatively inexpensive trip. So I was excited to share that with you because it was a really fun trip, and I enjoyed doing it all on points, miles, and credit card perks.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's some goals right there for anyone looking for a European summer trip. Have you added up the total, Katie, of what it would have cost had you not used points and miles?
No, and I should. Maybe I'll add that up and we'll put it in the show notes because that would be interesting. Yeah. I have all of the like totals. I keep a track of everything I spend. I just haven't added it up. But I'll do that and I'll add it to the show notes.
It's add it to the show notes, but thousands and thousands of dollars easily.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, speaking of points and miles, we got an email from Tom. Let me think. I'm going to let you answer this one, Katie. Tom asks, can I combine points from different programs to book one flight?
So no, sorry, you generally can't do that.
Next.
No. Yeah, it was an easy question, but let's move on. No, so you cannot do that, but there are programs that will let you pool points with friends and family. And we have a whole article written up about this that details everything. So we'll link to that in the show notes so you can read through that. But to give you a quick idea of some of the programs that allow you to do this, JetBlue has points pooling that lets you earn with friends and family. Don't have to be, doesn't have to be the same household. It can just be friends. Spirit also has a points pooling program. The trick with the Spirit is you have to have a silver or gold elite status or the Spirit credit card to start a pool, but it can include up to 8 friends or family members. United has an option that you can pool miles with up to 4 other members. Those miles can only be used for United and United Express flights, so there is a little bit of restriction there on that, but it's helpful if you want to just book some basic United flights. Frontier also has a family pool with up to 8 people, and family doesn't have to be family. It can be friends, coworkers, roommates, whoever. As long as you trust them enough to combine your points with them, they can work with that. And with Frontier, you do need to have elite silver status or hold the credit card also to do points pooling. But we will definitely link to the article we have written, so hopefully that will answer your question if we didn't talk about the specific airline that you were asking about. Okay, I think maybe we have time for one more quick question. Chris, I'm going to give this one to you. This came in to our email from Sarah, who says, I'm planning a big trip next year. When should I start earning and booking with points?
Well, Sarah, the answer is now. As soon as possible.
Another easy one. We're done.
Easy. Next. Yeah, sorry if you were hoping I would say something. You could wait some. But if you're going to be opening a credit card, that maybe it takes 3 months, or if it's a business card, 6 months to earn that welcome bonus, then you really need to get started as soon as possible, because you don't want an award alert to pop up on seats.aero and you not have the points and miles available. So we're always earning points and miles through everyday spend, through online shopping, through credit card offers, even if we don't have necessarily that big trip, ready to go, because we always know that maybe something could pop up, and it's always nice to have a healthy balance of points and miles so that when it does pop up, you're ready to book.
Absolutely, absolutely. Always earning, always earning. So you never know when those trips are going to pop up. So That's true. Start now, and you'll have points before you know it, and you'll be able to book a great trip. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today. If you are enjoying the show, we would love it if you would like us and subscribe on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, and share us with your points and miles loving friends. And if you have comments or questions for the show, if there's anything you'd like to see, if you have questions that you want to submit to be answered on the show, you can email us at podcast@upgradedpoints.com. And that will do it for us this week. We'll see you next week.